Cardano activates Van Rossem hard fork, its first run by voters. Cardano moved its mainnet from protocol version 10 to version 11 on Saturday, July 20th, 2026, at epoch 644. The Van Rossem hard fork lowers the cost of running smart contracts and lays the groundwork for Ouroboros Leios, the throughput upgrade the network has been building toward. Input-Output, the development firm behind Cardano, confirmed the activation and framed it as the foundation for the next major step. Two things make this upgrade worth attention. The technical change is real but incremental. The governance mechanism behind it is the bigger story. A hard fork the network voted for. Every prior Cardano upgrade was coordinated by input-output. Van Rossem was not. It became live through Cardano's on-chain governance system, making it the first hard fork in the network's history triggered by a vote of stakeholders, rather than a decision handed down by the founding team. That distinction matters more than the code shipped alongside it. Cardano spent years building CIP 1694, the governance framework that lets ADA holders and delegated representatives approve protocol changes directly on-chain. Van Rossem is the first time that machinery was used to push a hard fork all the way to activation. For a network that markets itself on formal process and peer review, moving a live consensus upgrade through a token vote is the proof point, not the Plutus tweak. It also sets a precedent other proof-of-stake chains will watch. On-chain governance is easy to describe and hard to run without either voter apathy or capture by large holders. Cardano now has a shipped example of the full loop working, from proposal to ratification to mainnet. Cheaper contract execution. With Leios next, the upgrade to Protocol version 11 brings Plutus improvements and revised cost model parameters. In practice, that means smart contracts on Cardano execute for less. Developers pay lower fees to run the same logic, and applications that were marginal on cost move closer to viable. Input-Output did not publish a headline percentage for the reduction, so the precise savings will show up in on-chain fee data over the coming epochs, rather than in a launch number. The more consequential piece is what Van Rossem prepares the ground for. The next hard fork, the Dijkstra era, is expected to introduce Ouroboros Leios, a scaling proposal for the Ouroboros proof-of-stake consensus that Cardano runs. Leios is designed to raise transactions per second sharply without weakening the security guarantees Ouroboros provides. Input-Output expects it to arrive in late 2026. Cardano has long traded throughput for a conservative, research-first design. Leios is the attempt to close that gap. Van Rossem is the plumbing update that lets it happen. On its own, cheaper contract execution is a maintenance release. Read as the step before a consensus-level scaling change, it reads differently. Timing against a soft market. The upgrade landed into a cautious tape. As of July 20th, 2026, the CoinMarketCap Fear and Greed Index sat at 35 in fear territory, with Bitcoin at 64,723 and Ether at 1874. Spot ETF flows for BTC, ETH, SOL, and XRP were positive over the prior week but modest, with roughly 75.7 into Bitcoin funds and 105.4 into Ether funds. Protocol upgrades do not move markets on activation day, and Van Rossem is unlikely to be an exception. For everyday crypto users, the relevance is indirect. Lower execution costs feed into cheaper on-chain activity, and any future stablecoin, payments, or stablecoin spending rails built on Cardano benefit from a network that can process more transactions per second at lower cost. None of that is live yet. The infrastructure is being widened now so that later products, including any consumer payment layer, are not bottlenecked by base layer throughput. That is the case Leios has to prove in late 2026.